let us gather in love and light and spirit. Let us gather in this beautiful community of learning. We call in the energy and love of all who came before us. Our ancestors, whose dreams and actions brought us into being. Those who stewarded and loved this land long before Gould existed on it. And all of the students and faculty, past and present, who have brought curiosity and wisdom and love to this space. We invite them all in. This place is alive with the energy of all who passed through. Let us gather in celebration of the work of you, our graduates. May you feel pride in your accomplishments, those academic, as well as athletic, artistic, and interpersonal. May you also remember the moments of humility and challenge, and hold yourselves with the same love, patience, and compassion that you would offer a dear friend. Let us gather in gratitude for the people, for parents, family members, teachers, and friends who have supported you, inspired curiosity, and nurtured your gifts. We give thanks for all that sustains us in this abundant universe, for health, for laughter, for beauty, for safety. Let us gather in awe for the beauty and mystery of life, that in the midst of a scary year of pandemic that kept us distanced, there was deep connection and caring for one another. May we remember that even in dark times, there is laughter, generosity, learning, and love. May we always strive towards love. Amen, and may it be so.
Please be seated. Reading from Gould's mission statement. Gould Academy prepares academically motivated students for college and helps them to become independent-minded, ethical citizens who will lead lives of purpose, action, excellence, and compassion in a dynamic world. I'd like to begin my remarks by acknowledging the challenging year that we just lived through, and I'd like to reflect on the loss that has been experienced around the world. Over 3.4 million people worldwide have died as a direct result of the pandemic. Hundreds of millions more have been affected by the disease, loss of loved ones, loss of income, home, health, and security. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor those who have passed, for loved ones not able to be with us today, including many members of the class of 2021, their families, and yours. I also want to acknowledge and thank a few individuals and groups of people without whom we wouldn't be standing here today. And I'm going to begin my remarks with an apology. I tried to make this as short as I could, but it's not easy. There are so many folks who helped get us to this point, and not recognize them would be a travesty. We wouldn't be here today without the entirety of this school, this community, our extended families, our friends, our neighbors, our town. I want to especially acknowledge our remote students, some who came back and left, others who never made it this year, but who stayed part of Gould Academy, whose parents and family members supported them through this tough ordeal without being able to be here and be in our presence. I'd first like to thank Dr. Gina Quinn Skillings, Senior Medical Director at Maine Health. She was our medical advisor last summer, and through the entirety of this year, Gina was an invaluable resource. We are so appreciative. She's also in the audience because her daughter Eliza is graduating today. I have to make sure that I thank Dr. Don Barclay, Chief Medical Director of the Portsmouth Regional Hospital, ICU, and also my wife. I could not have done this without you. I want to thank the Return to Campus Task Force and the COVID response teams. A year ago, we were busy in the thick and throes of planning for what school might be like. We were flying blind. We had no idea, little guidance. We were uncertain of the landing, and we just had to trust and plan and plan and plan and plan and plan. They worked tirelessly through the summer and school year. They came up with a great plan, exceptional execution, and they are to be commended for their leadership and their commitment. Can we get a round of applause for our nurses? What an amazing group. Yes, they're still standing over there. Over 4,300 tests administered here on campus. We had 2 positive employees and 15 positive student cases. Most of those cases occurred off campus during break. We only had 1 positive case and infection on campus that was quickly handled and isolated. 1. That's amazing. I am on calls with other head of schools every week and have been throughout this whole ordeal. I don't know of one other independent school or boarding school who had such luck. I want to thank our building and grounds crew who kept us functioning and without whom Gould would simply not work. I want to thank our food service, Lorraine Sumner and the food service company. They say an army runs on its stomach. Well, so too does a school, and they worked through so many different regulations and hoops, and they still provided meals for us every day and were able to get us through to the end. We had an amazing meal last night, didn't we, seniors? The baccalaureate dinner and the dessert, that was something special. Of course, our faculty and staff who jumped into the deep end with both feet starting last summer and never wavered and never let up. Thank you all so much. I especially want to thank our students. We literally would not be here without you, and none of this would have worked without your commitment and your dedication to our plan. Thank you. I want to thank our families, our boarding families, for entrusting us with the care of their children, taking a massive leap of faith, some sending their children halfway around the world to be here in the middle of a pandemic, and also for our day student families for their commitment and to the plan and their vigilance. We asked more of you than others, and you stepped up and you did it. The town of Bethel for their support and understanding through a really challenging time, for their creativity, helping provide things like Gould Meals to Go, closing businesses so that our students could go in and shop during non-public hours, and for many words and gestures of encouragement, kindness, and care this year. I want to thank our partners, Sunday River, a truly exceptional partner who gave so many of our students an escape and a place to be free for a few hours each day through the dark winter months. I want to thank our Board of Trustees for their continued support and love for Gould. It's been an interesting first year, to say the least. And the board has been there for me every step of the way, behind the scenes, encouraging and supporting and allowing this to happen. I want to make a special acknowledgement for the class of 2020. They did not get this opportunity to graduate in person. I hope we can celebrate their accomplishments appropriately at some point in the future. Some members from the class of 2020 are here today, and can we get a round of applause for these kids? Youth is happy because it has the capacity to see beauty. Anyone who keeps the ability to see beauty never grows old. Franz Kafka. I want to share for a minute a real-life metaphor for what this year felt like to me. I was raised in rural Vermont. In 4th grade, my friends and I could ride our bikes to the one-room schoolhouse a mile and a half down the road and up a dirt street. The route passed a house occupied by people, presumably, but we only ever saw their 2 large wild dogs, who apparently existed for the sole purpose of chasing young children on bicycles. Approaching the house, we would literally stop, to gather sticks and stones, anything that could be used to repel these savage beasts. Then we would glide silently on muffled wheels, slowly ramping up our pedal stroke so that we would hit maximum velocity at just the right time and make it past the house without incident. On occasion, if luck would have it, the dogs were inside, and we would go by unmolested. More often than not, though, they were there, lying in wait for just this moment, terrorizing small children, and every now and then someone would get bit. It was always Kevin. So biking to the North Pomfret School, you didn't need to be perfect. You didn't need to be faster than the dogs. You just needed to be faster than Kevin. And Kevin had a really crappy bike. He still complains about it to this day, literally. So he was always slower than everyone else. And I'm not sure what motivated him to run this gauntlet of fear. Perhaps it was the fear of missing out. Maybe Kevin was an eternal optimist. Either way, we always felt a little safer with Kevin around. Navigating this school year felt a lot like biking to school at age 8. You knew it was coming. Our tools of defense were primitive at best. Anxiety and fear were dominant. We didn't know if we would make it, but we had to get to school. School was safety. School was salvation. School was worth it. And we made it. In person and remote. And this year, even Kevin stayed ahead of the dogs. Back in August, I spoke with our students about the many challenges, pitfalls, and obstacles that lay ahead. In addition to the pandemic, we have faced calls for social justice, a national reckoning on systemic racial inequality, political disruption, riots, insurrection, environmental catastrophe. Does anyone even remember the fires in Australia and California last year? It seems like a distant memory in my mind. A multitude of crises have converged all at once, creating challenges that many of us alive today have never experienced, nor could we have imagined. The civil rights and labor rights activist Grace Lee Boggs once said, "You don't choose the times you live in, but you do choose who you want to be, and you do choose how to think." Well, I think that this generation will rise to the challenges in front of us. I believe that we will use this moment to change the arc of history, to rewrite our destiny, and I know that they, our seniors, can lead us to a better future. And isn't this exactly what a graduation speaker is supposed to say? Yes, they're daunting, but you, the class of 21, are the future leaders of tomorrow. You will change the world. Now get out there and be faster than Kevin. Well, I listened closely to our students throughout the year, and I learned something. Our children are not asking us for words of inspiration. They're asking for our help, our partnership, and our contribution. They don't want to do this alone, and they shouldn't have to. It's colossally unfair. It's not right for us adults to continue to create messes and then turn to our kids and say, "Oh well, tag, you're it." Class of 2021, you've spoken, we've been listening. You are not alone. We are right here with you, now and forever. This past year has taught us a number of things. It's taught us that while we can get by existing on an island of virtual learning and Zoom calls, life is better spent in companionship and good company. We made this decision to reopen school and bring our students back because being together is worth it. And it took courage, not just to show up, but to continue to show up day in and day out, on campus or remote, in the company of family or in the company of classmates and teachers. And when I talk about courage, I don't mean courage on the field of battle type courage. I'm talking about everyday, ordinary, mundane, get out of bed and face reality kind of courage. The let's just show up today courage. The courage that carries on in defiance of our inner worries, doubts, fear, and trembling. It's the kind of courage that Aunt Jones, the main character in Brian Walker's book, Black Boy, White School, displayed when he left his home in East Cleveland for Belton Academy, a fictitious boarding school in Western Maine. Aunt's courage wasn't defined by larger-than-life superhuman strength. It was defined by simply stepping into the unknown, waking up each day and learning to find his path, accepting himself for who he was, Aunt, not Tony. By growing up, by following his own path, Aunt displayed courage, and the kind of courage that's required of everyone and which each of you carries infinite capacity for. E.E. Cummings once said, "It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are." The past 15 months have been defined by feelings of isolation, feelings of being alone. One of my favorite deep thinkers. The French existential philosopher Emmanuel Levinas teaches us about the incommunicability of human existence. No matter how hard we try, Levinas says, we can never truly understand another's existence or experience. This existential dilemma creates an impermeable gap between us, a separation that will never be closed. The defining quality of existence, says Levinas, is to be alone. And yet, only when we are at peace with this reality, when we accept our isolation, are we truly free to love. Love is our salvation. It opens us up to others as wholly unique and separate from ourselves, which in turn frees us from feeling alone. We started the year channeling the Bard of Democracy, Walt Whitman. We had a primordial yelp that we did, a group yelp at the beginning of the year. I'm not going to ask seniors to embarrass themselves by doing it again now, but it felt good back then. Whitman writes, "I know I am solid and sound. To me, the converging objects of the universe perpetually flow. All are written to me, and I must get what the writing means. I know I am deathless. I know this orbit of mine cannot be swept by a carpenter's compass. I know I shall not pass like a child's curlicue cut with a burnt stick in the night. I know I am august. I do not trouble my spirit to vindicate itself or to be understood. I see that the elementary laws never apologize. I reckon I behave no prouder than the level I plant my house by, after all. I exist as I am. That is enough. If no other in the world be aware, I sit content. And if each and all be aware, I sit content." There are so many daunting mountains in front of you, seniors. These are not your problems alone to fix, they're all of ours. Look around you right now. Look at your classmates, your friends, your parents, your family, your teachers, faculty, staff members who have been there every step of the way. We will continue to be here beside you always. Take courage. We'll be with you each and every day in the shallow, quiet moments of wakefulness and in the deep. Look at what we did this year. Navigating a successful school year in alone of itself without a pandemic is a Herculean task. Look what you did. Living through this has taught us that although we may exist alone, each of us as a soul being separate and wholly unique from the other, that together we can make a difference. My directive to you as you go forth from this day is to wake each morning making a conscious decision to have a positive impact in someone's life, no matter how big or how small. You don't need to change the world. You need to exhibit these simple gestures of love and kindness that will make the world a better place, a place of beauty, allowing us to feel connected in all the imperfect and incomplete ways we are able, to see this beauty of the world, to retain the sense of childlike wonder that Kafka references, to seek joy. That is our special sauce, our reason for being. This small, beautiful thing that shines a ray of light into the darkness and reminds us day in and day out, there is beauty in this world. You are heard. You are seen. You are loved. You are not alone. You are not alone.
I must add another thank you to Mr. Smith's long list, and that is to our head of school, Tao Smith. I can't imagine a more challenging year to come in as the new head of a school than to greet a pandemic that no one had faced before. So I think he came in with a tremendous determination to open the school, tremendous confidence. All of you rallied and worked with him, all the faculty and staff, and opened the school, and we're grateful to all of you for making this work, and grateful to Mr. Smith. Today it is my great honor as President of the Board of Trustees to introduce our 2021 commencement speaker, author, teacher, and Gould alumnus, Brian Fitzgerald Walker. Mr. Walker grew up in East Cleveland, Ohio, a world away from snow-white Bethel, Maine, where he came at age 14 to join the freshman class at Gould in 1979. He adapted and quickly emerged as a natural leader of his class, continuing in that role throughout all 4 years as he explored and experienced all that Gould had to offer. After graduating from Gould in 1983, Mr. Walker studied English and journalism as a double major at Ohio Wesleyan University, and then returned to Cleveland to work as a newspaper reporter for a year. An interest in teaching and pursuing graduate studies prompted him to come back to Gould for a one-year teaching internship, and he ended up staying for 2 more years. He taught English, coached basketball, was a dorm parent, an advisor, was well loved by students, and made a huge impact in how he supported students of color at the school. As one of his students has said, he made us feel important. He showed us that we really mattered, that each of us had the power within to shape our experience. He made us believe in ourselves. After 3 years at Gould, Mr. Walker moved on to the Cambridge School of Weston in Massachusetts, where he worked for the next 23 years. He taught English, coached, served as interim athletic director and an admissions officer, and helped to significantly increase the number of students of color at that school. In 2012, HarperCollins published Mr. Walker's novel, Black Boy, White School, which is an important book for all of us to read. It vividly portrays the experience of students of color who are thrust into the white privileged world of an independent school. And while it is fiction, not memoir, it certainly draws upon his experiences at Gould. In 2015, Mr. Walker and his family moved to Tortola, British Virgin Islands, where his wife's family lives. Not long after they had settled into a new life there, Hurricane Irma, a terrifying Category 5 storm, crashed into the island, destroying houses and causing widespread devastation. He and his family ultimately decided not to rebuild and instead returned to Massachusetts. After teaching for a period of time at the Davis Leadership Academy in Dorchester, and then the Francis Parker Charter Essential School in Devens, Massachusetts, Mr. Walker joined the faculty of Buckingham, Brown, and Nichols in Cambridge, Mass., where he currently teaches English. Mr. Walker has won a grant for fiction writing from the Massachusetts Cultural Council, as well as numerous awards for playwriting, short stories, and journalism. He is a gifted writer and teacher with an infectious love of learning and an ability to bring out the best in his students by setting high standards and instilling confidence in each student to achieve those standards. We are so pleased to welcome Mr. Walker, his wife, Ava Archibald, and their 2 children, Olivia and Archie, back to Gould. We are honored that he accepted our invitation to speak today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to the class of 2021 your commencement speaker, Brian Walker.
Best money I ever spent. I gave her $20 to say all of that stuff. Most of it's not true. No, I really appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Smith. Everyone, let me take these glasses off so that I can read what's in front of me. I'd like to thank Gould, the graduating class of 2021, parents, guardians, families, Gould teachers, administrators, the board of trustees, Tao Smith, Maggie Davis, Bethany Allen, the DEI task force, and every other member of the Gould community for giving me the honor and opportunity to be with you here today, outside, in person, maskless. It's fantastic for me. But speaking of restrictions, I also want to thank Governor Mills for lifting the oppressive restrictions put in place by former and possibly future Governor LePage, who made it clear to his state troopers in the world that people like me were most likely, and this is a direct quote, named D-Money, Smoothie, and Shifty here from New York and Connecticut to sell drugs and impregnate young white girls. So it took a while for me to come back to vacation land after knowing that the CEO basically of the state didn't really want me here. You're going to hear more from me about Governor Mills in a few minutes, who many, many years ago made me feel welcome at a time when it seemed like the entire town of Bethel wore Klan robes. But we'll get to that in due time. I mean, you don't have to go anywhere, right? Right? No pressing issues that, you guys aren't waiting for anything, right? You got time? Good. All right, awesome. All right, so prepare for unchecked gas baggery then. I'm going to just talk and talk and talk. As Jim Fisk, former Gould science teacher, may he rest in peace, and an all-around excellent human being, used to always start all of his tales, I was born at an early age. And we'll just go on from there. It's often been said that nobody really remembers commencement addresses. People come to see Francesca or Fauntleroy, take their walk, seize their certificate, to share tearful goodbyes with friends, to exhale one last meaningful time before the first big bad inhale of real life and the real world, where the stakes are high and the most significant lessons don't come with grades. No one remembers the keynote speaker and what that person has to say, what wisdom or witticisms they share. I'm just an annoying noisemaker here to delay what you've been waiting for. I get it. I don't mind. I certainly don't remember who spoke at my graduation. I spoke at the baccalaureate dinner, and I don't even remember the things that I said. So, armed with this knowledge, I figured I could either try to say something so awe-inspiring, so significant, so undeniably bad, but that it sears itself deep into your brains and stands above every single commencement address ever. Or I could simply accept the fact that you are all going to forget this in a matter of hours or minutes, or that some of you are actively forgetting even as I speak. This therefore frees me to bend all of your ears in uncomfortable ways, to twist the cartilage of rote and routine to create a new way of processing sound, of processing the world, of processing the job that now waits for you just on the other side of that razor-thin piece of paper, that passport to the real world that you've heard so much about and are dying to join. But first, let's take a little walk. Metaphorically, of course, because if I know me, by now I'm already leaning on the podium, already sweating, and if not now, I soon will be, trust me. But come and walk with me anyway and see the Gould that I saw, where the end of an era and the birth of a new one overlapped and coexisted for a little while, each as different from the other as rocks and water. It was the fall of 1979. Rain slapped us in sheets. From the curb outside Davidson, you could barely see the field house because it was shrouded in clouds. I just waved goodbye to my uncle, not really my uncle, but a family friend, who'd driven me from East Cleveland to Bethel, from concrete and asphalt and everything that I knew, to tall trees and soccer goals and a wide world of mystery. Like any other human being, I arrived with a big bag of stereotypes and assumptions. I knew most students would be white. I thumbed through the catalog dozens of times. So meeting my roommate, Billy Eustace, Rockland, Maine, my dorm parent and advisor, Pete Ratcliffe, and most of the other guys on the freshman floor, and finding them all as white as I had imagined, that wasn't surprising. What did surprise me, though, was finding Tom Perry, Paul Fuller, Dino Slayton, Norman Ridley, Gina Lister, Shonda Young, Shonda Scott, Troy Ming, Jody Stovall, Cindy Patterson, J.C. Pritchard, and a handful of other students whose names escape me, all of them black or brown. Gould even had a French teacher, Renee Claire Pritchard, who looked and acted a lot like my aunts from Detroit. Turns out, a lot of that was due to Charlie Hurd, who was Gould's business manager, director of financial aid, and also the boys' basketball coach. It wasn't in vogue at that time to diversify schools, at least not yet. And DEI at that time may as well have stood for donuts, enchiladas, and ice cream. But Charlie Hurd knew the importance. And his wife, Mary, knew it too. And they did what they could to make Gould a home for us, celebrated our accomplishments, picked us up when we fell, Some accused Charlie of trying to stack his basketball teams by recruiting city boys to come here and play. But if you saw me shoot a layup, and Alec Newell knows, you'd know right away that was bogus. I was not recruited to play basketball. His sons, Charlie's sons, Scott and Chucky, and his daughter Wendy were some of the best basketball players to ever set foot in the field house, and they were as white as Maine itself. And it wasn't just the Hurd family. Pete Ratcliffe, my advisor, and his wife Vicky treated me like a son. When my grandmother, a school teacher, was shot and killed back in Cleveland, it was Pete who let me cry in his house, who covered the cost of sudden airfare home, who knew enough not to fix me, but to just let me be broken for a while. When I say that I love that man, I mean it. And if you ever say a discouraging word about him or his family, call 911, because there will be blood. And there was also Charlie Newell. I believe you may know his son. He taught me biology. He didn't take any bull fertilizer either. He expected from me what he expected from everyone, black, white, or otherwise, excellence. One of my favorite lines, he always used to say, Walker. He always just shouted my last name, Walker, right? Excuses are like rear ends, not what he actually said, but this is a family show. Everyone's got one and they all stink. He also had another one about rear ends, grass, and lawnmowers, but I'll spare that one. I'll spare you guys that one. And there was Bonnie Pooley. There were Bonnie Pooley, Matt Davis, Lucia Owen, who taught me to love English, Jim Feeney and Jim Fisk, who taught me science, King Marvin Owinga, who taught history, and his wife Madame, who made French fun, Gary Hill, who taught me how to teach and laugh and not take life so flippant seriously all the time. There were Dick and Debbie Dorman, Paul and Robin McGuire, Jan and Lorenzo Baker, Jim Owen, Carol Fisk, Jim Fisk. So many names that I could list them all day. And all of those people, all of those white people, made the place special, accommodating, home. No DEI training, no equity workshops, just the desire to teach and to learn and to grow. Gould was Camelot back then. It was an awesome place for a black kid from East Cleveland, for a white kid from Rockland, Maine. What's up, Adam Schwartz, if you're out there? For a biracial kid from the Lower East Side of Manhattan, for an international student from Caracas, Venezuela. I'm talking to you, Juan Torrealba, if you're out there. For the Sanchez siblings from Spain. Now, it wasn't always Shangri-La. Gould doesn't exist in a vacuum. Sometimes the outside world or ugly ideas encroached on the bubble that was placed over Gould and tried to burst it. Slurs yelled from the stands at away basketball games, yelled from passing pickup trucks, even scrawled on the stalls in Davidson's bathroom. Nothing typified it more than that fateful fall night when townies decided that it would be fun to dress up like the Klan and march through the middle of campus, burning a cross. I'm sure you've heard about it by now, so I won't go into the detail, but they planted it right up there at the top of that hill. But what you probably don't know is the rebel flag that was unfurled from a Holden dorm window at that time. A black kid named Adam, face covered in tears and snot, painfully pointing it out to me. My sudden rage and me flying up the stairs and Holden beating on the locked door and then kicking it in, confronting the seniors inside, ready to throw each and every one of them out of that window. I am not kidding. That's how I felt. I didn't. Just want you to know it didn't happen, right? And you probably don't know how afraid I was after that to go to town, to cross the street, to be outside in Bethel, Maine, because if it happened again, somebody, probably me, would end up hurt. Gould became a little less special for me then. I'd heard rumors that some adults knew that it was going to happen, that they knew some of the perpetrators, and even though we took them to court, the prosecutor, Janet Mills, couldn't bring them real pain because there were no hate laws on the books at that time in this state. I graduated confused. But I came back, this time as a teacher, And Tommy Lazar, Tom Pena, Shane Robinson were there. So was Adeyaha Jackson, Ralph Wayne Carter, Omar Robinson, Bethany Allen, Luis Lorenzana, Harvey Vicioso, Corey McIntyre, Jason Portal, Bismarck Ramirez, Khalik Atkins. The names can go on and on and on. There were others whose names escaped me, but I was happy to see that there were still students who looked like me. And if not for the uncomfortable and unavoidable fact that Bethel, Maine was a desert for a single black man, I would have stayed much longer than just 3 years as a teacher. When I came to visit in 2013, shortly after publishing Black Boy, White School, I made it my business to visit with the kids of color here at Gould Academy, but could only meet half of them as the other kid was out of town that day. 2. My mind was blown. And now I look around, and please don't take this as an offense, but I don't see myself here. And I don't see Shane Robinson or Luis Lorenzana here. I don't see Philip Jordan here or Luis Rosado. I don't see Kathy Layton or Paul Izzard, Jamila from Boston or Christina from the Native American Reservation. What happened? DEI is a thing now. It's real. We understand its importance, how it broadens horizons and perspectives and lives. We know that the world is growing smaller each day, and that simple demographic math tells us that very, very soon there will be more people of color in these United States than white people. For institutions like Gould to stay open and afloat, they will have to diversify. No disrespect intended, but what you see around you right now is not an accurate reflection of the world that you're about to enter. It isn't monochromatic, the world, and neat and pristine. It's messy, it's diverse, and it speaks many tongues. And unlike the times when in the 1980s when the 1980s arrived, black and brown people in institutions like this know what they want and aren't afraid to demand it. So what can you do now? Only minutes away from your next major step, as you are about to leave Gould in the rear view, as you enter a world seemingly more divided than the one that your parents inherited. The honest answer is, I don't know. I guess try not to live with your head in the sand. Actively connect to people and cultures outside of your own. Actively connect. That means you've got to take the initiative. Don't wait for them to come to you. Listen and learn. Learn to listen. Use your privilege, and you are privileged, folks. You go to a preppy school, right? Use your privilege to impact positive change. Stand up for someone who doesn't look like you, doesn't come from similar backgrounds, doesn't speak the same languages of privilege and class. Be humble, be open, be anti-racist, be anti-classist, be anti-jerk. Mr. Smith and Ms. Davis and many other folks here at Gould have already started the hard work to root out institutional racism here, to make it a place where students can be comfortable being themselves and even being more than one person. You can be an artist and you can be an athlete here at Gould, am I right? Awesome. So we want to make sure that we continue that tradition. I'm excited and optimistic because I see their commitment is genuine, and although there aren't many now, I look forward to future commencements when the names and the backgrounds of the new Gould alumni are as varied as the trees all around us. Thank you for your time, and congratulations to the Gould Academy class of 2021.
Thank you, Brian. Presented by the class of 1930, on which is inscribed the name of the Valedictorian, it is my pleasure and my honor to present this year's scholarship shield to Lydia Marie Bennett. The Cum Laude Society. In 2014, Gould Academy was granted charter with the Cum Laude Society. The society was founded in 1906 to recognize the scholastics of seniors in secondary schools. The object of the Cum Laude Society is to promote learning and sound scholarship. At this time, I would like to announce the names of the senior class members of the Gould Academy Cum Laude Society. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all names have been called. And if you can please hold off on applause until everyone's up, and then we can give everyone one big round of applause. Thank you. Lydia Marie Bennett. Caitlin Drum Sadie. Yao Run Zhu. Elizabeth Atia Skillings. Alexa Jade Daigle. Annabelle Margaret Forsley. Kim Jin Kyu. Eric Lee. Shan Hui. Xie Chun. I'm being told I skipped something. Hold on a second. This is my first time doing this here, I just want to say. Yes, I did skip something. Oh, well, it's all right, we got the rest of the year right. It's okay if we have a few mistakes here. I'm sorry, I should have flipped back to the front page. The senior student address. We're going to pause and come back to the awards. How does that sound? Everyone did great, I have to say. That was just like we practiced it. Liam, I'm sorry. You're next. Our senior student address selected by his classmates, Liam Hourihan.
How's it going, everyone? All right. Hello, all, and welcome to the Gould Class of 2021 graduation. My name is Liam Hourihan, and I want to thank you all for being here today. I'm honored to be here. And to honor today's ceremony, I know that many of us have asked underclassmen to iron our gowns for today. You know me, and you know this is a very stressful position to be in. So I decided to not only give my gown to my underclassmen to iron, but also the responsibility of writing my speech. Nolan, thank you. No one will ever know who did what. But in all seriousness, this speech has been an anomaly in the way that I did not start this late last night. And to the surprise of my previous teachers, I actually started 2 weeks ago, and I'm done on time. They don't give extensions for these things. Well, I guess there are first times for everything. And I guess a crowd of 500 is enough pressure to get me to the finish line. Moving on, I have a couple thanks to send before starting things off. First of all, thank you to my parents for the opportunity to be attending Gould and why I'm here today. Thank you to my two sisters, Rory and Adia. Thank you to the faculty and staff for all the support you have given each of us and to all of the work that went into making today possible. Thank you to all the family and friends gathered here today, no matter physically or virtually. And thank you especially to the nurses and COVID task force and teachers for all of their work in making this year so successful. Thank you for the new masks as well. Hopefully we won't be needing these for too much longer. In the fall, Ava, Phil, Lizzie, freshman Joseph, and I would jam out in the basement of Bingham. not feeling like we were in the midst of a pandemic. Cranking the amps, covering different songs, and occasionally setting off Mr. Penley upstairs was how we'd spend every afternoon. How's it going, Mr. Penley? These days were wholeheartedly some of the best I've ever spent with friends. Even when we were each spaced out in different corners of Bingham Gym, despite our physical distance, it was in these moments where I felt closest to my peers. It was in these moments that we tuned out the pandemic around us, tuned into our passions, and brought the community together, where we reclaimed open mic nights and worked to find our new normal. I think as a class, we all had moments where we found our jam. Moments where we realized that Gould is our home and that this is where we want to be. Moments like nights out at the bonfire, riffing on Free Fallin', or buying a scratch off in Mallard Mart to celebrate an 18th birthday and winning your money back. Or getting a first place ribbon at an equestrian competition. Or the quiet rides of the chairlift in the morning. Oh, by the way, as a member of the Winter Outing Club, I'm not exactly sure what chairlifts are, but I appreciate Henry for reminding me every day. Or how about the unprecedented return to normalcy as we all sat together in the crowds at softball games? Or how about investing in GameStop before the big boom? Yeah, looking at you, Mr. Leff. Definitely no insider trading going on there. Here's the thing. All these moments that I would have perceived as being insignificant, these tiny little interactions, have become some of my most cherished memories. And the moments that I put so much pressure and anxiety towards have seemed to slip to the background of my mind. The college acceptances, the perfect ski races, the concerts. I don't need to go on. I'm sure that list of worries has already come to mind. The truth is, next time we're all gathered on the field together as a class, we won't be talking about our college acceptances or who made honor roll or who took more APs, Kevin Kim. We'll be talking about the stories and funny moments we shared together. You really didn't think I wasn't gonna bring this out, come on. You know, the times we got trench foot on junior 4-point, the missed opportunity for slow motion day that I'm still really bummed about, trying to predict what spin the dining hall will put on chicken and rice tonight. See, I got it in there. The late night haircuts in the library, and the community karaoke to Fireflies. By the way, I have never felt as powerful as I did in that moment, and I'll be sure to use those skills in my summer job at interviews. You know, to have a list of memories like these may be something normal to most classes who have graduated from Gould. But nowadays, we can no longer take normal for granted. We made the most of it. We shall be going in for hugs and high fives to celebrate. Just joking. I know we aren't there yet. Well, in order to go out the same way I came in, I've got the guitar, I've got the amp, so let's take a minute, sit back, and let's collect these moments together. Love you all, and thank you.
Wow, this is it. I'd like to start off by thanking the Board of Trustees for caring so much about Gould and making it exceptional. Thank you, Mr. Smith, class of 2021's third and best headmaster, along with the amazing faculty, our mentors, and cheerleaders. Your energy and passion helped transform our senior year into an incredible experience, despite the challenges with COVID. And a huge thank you to all of our families. I want to give a special thank you to my mom and dad, my brothers, my Nana, Uncle Les, and Gail and Pap for their encouragement and support. Of course, I also have to sneak in a thank you to my fantastic furry friends, Mookie and Marshall, because they always greet me with such energy and bring wondrous joy to campus. And finally, thank you, class of 2021. I'm extremely grateful for your friendship. You're truly inspiring individuals. One of the most grueling endurance races in the world takes place in Australia, the Sydney to Melbourne Ultra Marathon. It's 544 miles long and typically takes 6 to 7 days to complete. World-class athletes trained endlessly to compete. In 1983, a 61-year-old potato farmer named Cliff Young showed up in his overalls and galoshes. Spectators were genuinely concerned for him as the race began. He was obviously out of place and certainly didn't know what lay ahead. 4 years ago, some of us came to Gould in a similar way, perhaps feeling or looking a bit out of place and unsure what our lives would look like over the next few years. We were thrust into Gould's experiential learning full force with a 3-day orientation hiking trip, sharing a tent with strangers, and eating bacon mac and cheese. We endured the rites of passage, walking around campus with oil on our spoon for Mr. Riley, counting the bricks in Hanscom, and dodging traffic while tracking the speed of cars on Church Street for conceptual physics. We were learning new vocabulary like dots and 4-point, but most of all, we simply started. We were willingly jumping in and embracing this trek, one step at a time. Cliff Young kept his pace as well. At the end of the first day of the ultramarathon, he was still far behind. No one paid particular attention to him as he rhythmically shuffled along, but he wasn't concerned. He kept it simple, recognized his progress, and took one step at a time. When the third day came to a close, Cliff was in the middle of the pack. He was right there with everyone, still wearing his overalls and work boots and doing his trademark shuffle, but he was with the pack. That was us, sophomore year. We knew how things worked, where to sit in the dining hall, what to wear to a residential rumble, and how not to get stuck in too long a conversation with Mr. Leff. We saw Mr. Hayward belay from the Bingham ceiling during assembly and knew it was Mountain Day. Our friendships strengthened. We grew as a community during 4-point, spending a week together on campus without classes, playing broomball, and making recycled clothing or performing circus tricks. We learned that Mr. Seekman, calling us slackers, was affectionate, not accusatory. And that faculty are really cool people, many of whom make amazing food and have unique talents. We were more confident organizing our day and knowing how much, or how little, we needed to annotate. We were realizing that success is based on one small incremental step at a time. We were keeping with the rhythm. Cliff Young did the same and kept impressing everyone. He was consistent and committed throughout the whole race. When others were sleeping 6 hours a night, Cliff kept running and slept 1, perhaps 2 hours. That was his technique, and he stuck with it. Steady and consistent, taking deep breaths and not panicking. He knew he had practiced for the race by herding sheep for days in the midst of storms and pouring rain, and he could adapt. As juniors, we were also keeping the pace and remaining strong. We kept up our intensity while pursuing new adventures and opportunities, and adapting our rhythm to include new discoveries about ourselves. Maybe you tried fly fishing with Mr. Parker, or went ice climbing or bandit camping. I know the girls' soccer team provided Brucey with his first ever soccer victory. We were taking a few AP classes, getting some college plans outlined, and we're learning how to get off the struggle bus per Miss Schifrin. We were on top of it all. Then we walked into the snowy woods for 9 days together. We struggled, cried, conquered the mountain and ourselves, all while eating just a bagel, frozen blocks of cheese, and pepperoni, only to come out into a completely different world, literally. Yet we faced that challenge as well. We were committed and consistent, throughout the rest of junior year, and were adapting on a daily basis. We did the online classes, stayed in touch with friends despite the distance, mourned our losses, but creatively contributed ideas on how to rebuild the Gould community even with pandemic limitations. We were not giving up. So too, Cliff Young kept running. By the end of the 5th day, he was far ahead of any competition. He ended up shattering the course record by almost 2 days, finishing more than 10 hours ahead of any of his closest competitors. His discipline and commitment paid off as he set the standard with a new normal. As seniors, we too were setting a new normal. We were committed to this school and to each other as we pressed on despite the pandemic restrictions. The polar bears still jumped into icy waters, skiers still trained hard and excelled, friendships deepened even with masks and social distancing, senior 4-point projects embraced creativity with amazing results. We now have a disc golf course on campus, and the skeleton of an emu might be in McLaughlin one day. We've all become Zoom experts, and we're learning how to put on virtual concerts, musicals, and art shows. Seniors, we jumped into the race even when we weren't sure how difficult it would be. We found our rhythm. We adapted. We stayed consistent. We remained committed and disciplined. And we are well prepared. And now, once again, we are towing the line. In a few moments, we're going to walk across this stage and officially graduate. The gun is about to fire, and class of 2021, what a race we are going to run. Thank you.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Ms. Ligari is going to kill me later. She walked through this with me over and over and over. I swear this is not her fault. It was mine. Now we get to the fun part, the awards and the diplomas. Our scholarship shield, presented by the class of 1930, on which is inscribed the name of the Valedictorian, which is the top member of the senior class, who has been at Gould for at least the last 2 years. It's my honor to announce Lydia Bennett. The Cum Laude Society. Bet you didn't know I was going to do this one. In 2014, Gould Academy was granted charter with the Cum Laude Society. The society was founded in 1906 to recognize the scholastics of seniors in secondary schools. The object of the Cum Laude Society is to promote learning and sound scholarship. At this time, I would like to announce the names of the senior class members, which were being kept secret up until this very moment, of the Gould Academy Cum Laude Society. Please stand as I call your name. Remain standing until all names have been called, and hold your applause until we have finished. Some of these seniors are remote. Please stand at home. Lydia Bennett. Caitlin Drum Sadie. Yao Runju. Elizabeth Atia Skillings. Alexa Jade Daigle. Annabelle Margaret Forsley. Kim Jin Kyu. Eric Lee. Shan Hui. Xie Chun.
Good morning. It is my privilege to be here in person to announce the awards in the Humanities Department. For outstanding effort, excellence, and achievement in the English classroom, I'm pleased to award Olivia Knight. outstanding effort, excellence, and achievement in the history classroom, I'm proud to announce Elizabeth Skillings.
It is my honor to represent the STEM department in awarding the following awards. In excellence in mathematics, Yi Xuan Hong. And Ray Shan. For excellence in both computer science and as an innovator, earning the Innovators Award, Dylan Greenberg. The Next Gen Personal Finance Student of the Year Award for outstanding contributions in a personal finance class is awarded this year to Utah Bean. This student earned a $1,000 scholarship from Next Gen Personal Finance for the NGPF Payback Challenge, an award-winning college simulation. Her essay was chosen among thousands of submissions across the U.S., and that is Annabelle Forsley. And for excellence in science, this student is remote, and that is Yao Run Ju.
On behalf of the faculty of the World Languages Department, I'm proud to offer the French, Mandarin, and Spanish Book Awards to some very deserving individuals. This year, we are honoring 2 seniors with book awards in French. Our first, Lydia Bennett. And the French Book Award also goes to Caitlin Sadie. This year, the recipient of the Mandarin Book Award is Kim Jin Kyu. And our recipient of the Spanish Book Award is Olivia Cordero.
Morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to announce the award winners for the visual and performing arts. For theater, the award goes to Auburn Fitzgerald. And for the visual arts, we have Li Yuxuan. The Senior Class Pottery Book Award goes to Ella Raymond. And each year, the Art Department Purchase Award is awarded. The Art Department gets together and selects one work of art to purchase and remain here with the Gould Academy community. And this year, that award goes to Li Yuxuan. Really. We don't have an award. The Gail A. Foster Award. Gail A. Foster was an instructor at Gould Academy. He taught photography, physics, and operated the camera club. As a photographer, he gained an international reputation. This award to his memory was given by Martin Bove, class of 46, one of his students, who is currently a professional photographer. The award is given to the student who has exhibited the most outstanding work in photography, and this year that student is Li Jiaqi. The Ralph Gould Music Award, awarded to the graduating senior for improvement, excellence, and contribution to the school in the area of music. The Ralph Gould Music Award consists of a token gift and an invitation to select and present to the Academy some object relevant and useful in academic or extracurricular music. The recipient of the award this year is Yao Runju.
Boom. Good morning. I am here to give the awards for outstanding senior athletes. These awards, the Joe Roderick Award for boys and the Francis Highbury Award for girls, recognizes a senior boy and girl for outstanding competitive spirit through example and overall competence in athletics. Named in honor of Highbury, who taught at Gould from 1957 to 1978, and for many years coached the girls' basketball and softball teams. As a coach, he worked to instill teamwork, good sportsmanship, and pride in playing for the school. Given each year to the senior girl who has exhibited outstanding competitive spirit, leadership by example, and overall competence in athletics. The recipient of the award this year is Alexis Margaret Ordway. Joe Roderick taught physical education at Gould for 29 years. In addition, he coached football and acted as trainer for all sports. His encouragement and enthusiasm for athletes were a positive influence on many Gould graduates. Given each year to the boy who has exhibited outstanding competitive spirit, leadership by example, and overall competence in athletics. The recipient of the award this year is Alexander Baxter.
The William P. Clough Award. Bill Clough was the headmaster of Gould Academy from 1983 to 2001. This award was created upon his retirement to recognize an on-snow athlete who has demonstrated outstanding character, attitude, and leadership. The recipient of the award this year is Sarah Elizabeth Harvey. We did say before the program, no handshakes and no hugs, but you can see the faculty clearly threw that out the window, so I guess we're just going to go with it.
The Gould Academy Alumni Association Award. The Alumni Award is presented by vote of the faculty to a student who is the son or daughter, grandson or granddaughter of a Gould Academy alumnus or alumna, and who best reflects the high standards of the Gould Academy Alumni Association and its motto, "To thine own self, be true." This year, the award is presented to Wyatt Christopher, the alumni.
Okay. So I'm here and pleased to present the Senior Point Award. This award is awarded to a senior whose project best exemplifies the three values at the heart of any Gould endeavor: the energy to try, the willingness to risk, and the capacity to tolerate. The award is presented this year to Olivia Cordero.
The Jan and Lorenzo Baker Award. Jan and Lorenzo Baker devoted 35 years to Gould Academy, challenging students to be courageous and open to the world around them. As art department head, Jan Baker inspired students to explore new perspectives and techniques for artistic expression. Dean of Community Life, Lorenzo Baker helped students become strong individuals and leaders within their community. The Jan and Lorenzo Baker Award is bestowed upon a member of the senior class who best exemplifies the qualities that the Bakers fostered: personal courage, an adventurous and creative approach, and a clear vision of themselves and their world. I'm pleased to announce that this year's award goes to Elizabeth Atia Skillings.
The Owinga Citizenship Award. Named for Dr. Marvin T. Owinga, history teacher at Gould for 30 years, and his wife Tinica Owinga, French teacher for 30 years as well. This scholarship is awarded to a member of the Gould student body who embraces the spirit in which both the Owingas have lived their lives through acts of selflessness and thoughtful humanitarianism. The recipient of the Owinga Citizenship Award is Cassandra Kathleen Pyle.
The Annie Daly Corchane Award. This award, given in memory of Annie Daly Corchane, class of 1986, celebrates the spirit of student involvement in social, political, and environmental causes. The award is in two parts: a monetary contribution to a cause which Annie believed in and worked towards, and an inscribed cup presented to a Gould Academy student who reflects Annie's determination to make the world a better place. The recipient of this year's award is Ella Raymond.
I'm here to present the Lindy Lowell Award. Lindy Lowell worked at Gould Academy for over 30 years, always with a smile, a kind word, or a helping hand for anyone in need. By vote of the senior class, the Lindy Lowell Award is given to that member of the senior class whose friendly personality and helpful nature has brightened the lives of their fellow classmates and the Gould community. I am pleased to announce that this year's recipient is Elizabeth Atia Skillings.
The Melmac Principal's Scholarship. This $2,000 scholarship is awarded to a graduating senior who has made a difference in the lives of others and that of his or her community. A solid school citizen involved in extracurricular activities, a student who has exhibited a commitment to public service, an individual with the potential to make a difference in the world. Pleased to announce this year's recipient, Emily Ray Coffin. Every year, the town of Newry presents a monetary gift to each of the graduating seniors who are full-time residents. This year's recipients are two, Ava Mastrioni and Kyle Rivard. On behalf of the citizens of the town of Woodstock and the Board of Selectmen, I'm honored to present the Woodstock Students Scholarship. This is an award that provides a monetary scholarship to a high school graduate from Woodstock, Maine, for their second semester of college. It is my honor to present this scholarship to Emily Coffin. The Elwood F. Ireland Award. The late Elwood F. Ireland, headmaster of Gould Academy from 1940 to 1959, created an award upon his retirement which went to the boy and girl of the senior class who best exemplify service, leadership, and character. I am pleased to announce that by faculty vote, the award this year goes to Woo Jun Fei, who's remote, and Emily Ray Coffin. The Headmaster's Bowl, awarded to the senior who has exhibited the highest standards of scholarship, character, and service to the school and participation in activities of the school. Lydia Bennett. And now, seniors, the moment you really all been waiting for. Yeah. Can we get a seniors? Seniors! I like that. Okay, just a couple of instructions before we get started. We're going to present the diplomas. I'm going to read through the names of the remote seniors first. Their image will pop up on the screen next to me. Then we're going to go through the seniors that are here in person, after which we will have the closing words by our the benediction. Convocation. Benediction. Thank you. By Emily Drummond. There will be the bagpipe player will start playing. We do not have an organized march out of the tent this year. Normally there's an order and the kids follow the bagpiper, the faculty go, we leave, and then there's a reception. We're not doing that. So at the end, it's the end. We have provided some lunches, some box lunches over on the side for family members, guests, and for seniors. So you're welcome to grab one and eat afterwards. And then you go about your lives. How's that sound? Pretty good. Okay. So our first diploma presentation to our first remote senior, Dong Ke. Kim Jin Kyu. Eric Lee. Lee Jia-chi. Leo Lan Fu. Shan Hui. Hunter Elizabeth Stouffer. Hang Song. Huang Jingyi. Wu Junfei. Xie Chun. Yao Runju. Yu Jiahui. Seniors, when I announce your name, please approach the stage to receive your diploma. We'll enter from my right and exit to the left. Oh, your hand now. I got it. Now I see what you're at. First, though, yes. I was right this time. Lydia Marie Bennett. Alexander Baxter Barabo. Utah Libby Bean. Jenna Noel Burnett. Emily Ray Coffin. Olivia Hilda Cordero. Hunter Forbes Curtis. Alexa Jade Daigle. She brought her own paparazzi. Celeste Antoinette Fisher. Annabelle Margaret Forsley. The great fisherman himself, Elijah Corridan Granis. Dylan Thayer Greenberg. Thomas Kenneth Hall. Zachary Abdul Hamideh. Sarah Elizabeth Harden. Liam Arthur Hourihan. Philip Joseph Cafton. It's really you. Sign it. Kim Tae-u. Olivia Aldrich Knight. Li Yushuen. Aiden Mahoney. Ava Dallas Mastrioni. Kalina Rose Medeiros. Henry Hartwell Melnick. Olga Huske. Leah Wynn Woodward Ohms. Alexander Sampson O'Neill. Alexis Margaret Ordway. Peng Yi Xuan. Auburn Alexandra Putz Burton. Cassandra Kathleen Pyle.
That's my old roommate.
Ella L. Raymond. Kyle H. Rivard. Caitlin Drum Sadie. Elizabeth Atia Skillings. Wyatt Christopher Thielbar. Ian Lucas Tyson. Wada Gaku. Mrs. Gardiner, it is my honor to present to you the Gould Academy class of 2021.
ceremony. Blessings to you, Gould Academy class of 2021, with your eagerness, generosity, kindness, rambunctiousness, and unity. May you carry that energy and spirit with you into the world. May you be brave enough to follow your path, listening to your inner wisdom and your heart. May you find your place in this world. May you be the change. May you love deeply, even though your heart will break again and again. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. Until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage. Blessed be, and may it be so.